there's definitely a lot going on. I think the most significant thing that I've had happen is I'm from Norfolk. I'm from Norfolk, Virginia, born and raised. Work there now. Work for the city through the public school, and they had a contest, a call for submissions, if you will. Maybe last April, they said we want you to submit a poem that's 150 words or less. They said we're going to pick 20 of them. We don't care we're going to pick what we like. So I said, I'll submit. So I submitted three. And I think there are about 700 people that submitted. So out of my three, and they only chose 20, they chose two of mine. Out of 700 people, they chose two of mine. And they took the poems and they stenciled them on multiple streets in my city.
Introducing the Poet Life Podcast. Go check it out today on your favorite platforms, including iTunes, Apple Music, and the website, thepoetlife.com.
Find a way, find a way.
Hey, it's Christoph Jenkins, and I am excited. Tonight on the Poet Life Podcast to speak with a colleague in the poetry industry, Cassandra. Cassandra is free. Talk to me. How are you?
You know what? I'm feeling really, really good. I've had a great day today with my family, and now I'm able to wrap it up with something else that I love. So great times, good day.
Beautiful. Yeah, same here. Today was good. Today I have three daughters, 7 and under, and we did daddy-daughter day. Even with my older brother who also has a daughter. So it was 4 girls out there, and I'm tired, but I'm energized tonight to be here with you. And I just want to dive in real quick, with a quick question, and it's
Okay,
just going
go
to be
for
a
it.
cool conversation here. Not even an interview, it's just a cool conversation. But I wanted to ask you about your name. Where did you get your name? Where did it originate?
Okay, about maybe 15 years ago, I had a
Mm,
friend of mine, still a good friend of mine. Her name is Crystal Lewis, who's also a poet. And she was the one that kind of convinced me to start venturing out into open mics and do things and share the poetry. So I remember I said, should I just go up and say I'm Cassandra? And she was like, yeah, but we have to do something else. She was, and so then she gave me the name. She said, you're so free with everything. And I was like, so free? And at that time, I think 106 in Park was still on. So there was AJ and
ah,
Free. So I was like, I don't want to be free because we already have that. She was like, no, Cassandra Free. I was like, Cassandra Free doesn't sound good. And the Cassandra is free because you're free. And I was like, I like it. And it stuck. So we've
wow,
had Cassandra is free, then the variation of Cass is free, and then sometimes just Cass, depending on how comfortable I am with the person. So, but it's
gotcha.
Cassandra is free.
Okay. I love hearing the backstories from poets and their names. It's pretty dope. It's pretty dope. Definitely. So, the reason I reached out to you, one, you're doing some amazing things in the poetry industry, and I know we've come in contact at the Poet Life Fest. You were one of the
Yes.
artists to perform at the Poet Life Fest, the first ever first festival that we've had this. I was gonna say this year, but it's last year. The time is just like I don't know what year it is.
It's
You
flying.
know, it's crazy. So last July of 2021, you had the opportunity to perform. What did you think of the festival?
I loved it. I loved it. One, anytime you can get away, we love our children. As you said, you're tired. Anytime you can get away for a few hours, it's okay. But I was there. I stayed the whole time. I got to hear some amazing poets come before me. I was also
Yeah.
there with people that I'm friendly with or friends with. Kaniki, very good friend of mine. People
Mm,
I'm friendly with that I hadn't seen in person in a while. Ed, maybe hadn't seen him in a while. Just seeing
right.
people that I really vibe with. So it was a great time. It was positive. I didn't see
Yeah.
anything negative in the crowd. Everybody just showed love to everybody, from the vendors to the performers to just the people that were
Yeah.
there to be there. So I thought it was amazing, and I'm looking forward to you putting out, something else together like that.
For
Definitely, it was
sure.
it was
For
dope. It was
sure.
dope.
And you brought it. You
I
brought
had a
it.
good time. I had a good
Yeah,
time.
your performance was amazing, and
Thank
I
you.
was very pleased and glad that we were able to work together in that regard. And so, thank you for being a part of it.
Thank
Um,
you.
so tell me about what you have going on right now as it relates
Ooh.
to what you're doing with poetry, because it's some good stuff and it's a lot. So you're working hard. What you got
Yeah,
going on?
yeah. There's definitely a lot going on. I think the most significant thing that I've had happen is I'm from Norfolk. I'm from Norfolk, Virginia, born and raised. Work there now. Work for the city through the public school, and they had a contest, a call for submissions, if you will. Maybe last April, they said we want you to submit a poem that's 150 words or less. They said we're going to pick 20 of them. We don't care we're going to pick what we like. So I said, I'll submit. So I submitted three. And I think there are about 700 people that submitted. So out of my three, and they only chose 20, they chose two of mine. Out of 700 people, they chose two of mine. And they took the poems and they stenciled them on multiple streets in my city. So you can walk down certain avenues, certain boulevards in my city, by Norfolk State University, that you and I are both alum of, and my
Hmm.
words are printed on the street. And I was able to take my children, who are 6 and 8. My son is 8 and my daughter is 6, and to see my words. It has the poem and then it has my name. And that was so amazing, because my son said, I can't wait to go to school and tell everybody that my mom is a star. And just to hear that you want your children to be proud of you. So that was just probably the most significant thing that I have had happen yet. And even no matter what, star I rise to, that probably will still be the most significant thing, because at 8, and at 6 with my daughter, they had that level of pride for mom. So that was,
Mm.
man, that was meaningful. And it took a while. I think we found out in August that I was selected, and then they didn't put everything down until like January. So it took, it was a process. So it had been
Right.
building up. My son was like, "Is it done yet? Is it done yet?" I'm like, "No, not yet.
Right.
I'll let you know." But so
Right.
that was amazing. I'll say a couple of weeks ago, I was able to be in Tokyo, but not physically. I was on a
Well, hold
stream.
that thought, because I know that's going to be
Yeah,
an
okay,
amazing story.
okay.
Let's go
I
here
have a lot going
with
on.
it's awesome, and I love it. Again, like I was saying offline, the premise of this whole podcast is to show examples of amazing people doing amazing things in the poetry industry, because poets need to see the examples and
Right, absolutely.
be shown how it's done or how they did it, right? So you submitted what month? I know you got you and
Uh,
they announced in August.
it was around April, maybe May of last
Got
year.
got you. So you submitted in like April or May. You got the announcement in August, like 4 months later,
Right,
and then 4 months later,
right.
that's when they that's when they
Yeah, 4 or 5
laid it
months
down.
later. Yeah,
So how long
yeah.
will it last?
Until it lasts, and I say that because that's how they described it, because it's stenciled. So they're anticipating, 6 months to a year, which is, to me, I'll take it, because and Norfolk, we have so many people that come in and out, so there are so many people that are going to see, and there are so many, and then the fact that there's two poems, not just one. So there are about 7 or 8 streets between the two poems where these words are stenciled. And I think the favorite one is probably the haiku. It says, self-revelation, climb got easier when I learned I'm the mountain. So I am the mountain. I am what I have to get over to get to where I need to be. So that's one of my probably my favorite of the two that were selected. But I want somebody to read that and say, I'm the mountain. I want somebody to, especially the students over at NSU, I want them to see it and say, I am the mountain, and understand that they
Wow.
can do anything. Yeah,
Did you let
it's a
Norfolk
great
State
feeling.
know?
Yeah, yeah. I let a couple of professors know that it was out there. I'm like, just go. You take your class out there. You tell them, or just tell them. Tell them that it's there. It's right by Corporal Avenue, which is right by Norfolk State University. Let them go see it. Let
Tomorrow
them know.
you need to call Spartan Echo.
You're right.
Need to. I used to write for Spartan Echo. You need to call Spartan Echo and listen. Say one of your alum, myself, has something amazing happening around the corner, like right there.
That's
And
right. That's
yeah,
right.
no,
Proud
and it's that
alumnus.
easy. But it's that easy though, because they look for graduates doing amazing things and they want to highlight them. Yeah, yeah.
All right.
So,
That's a great idea. That's an excellent
mhm,
idea.
definitely,
All right.
definitely. And first of
That's
all,
on my to-do list.
congratulations. Yeah,
Thank
yeah,
you. Thank you.
for sure. That's awesome. Because speaking of your children, because I think the same way as it relates to my kids. Impress upon them to create, create, create. I have a 3, a 5, and a 7, and
Mm-hmm.
that's my whole thing, because you literally can create the life you want to live if you put the work up front in.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And so, for your kids to see that, I know that like open their mind to what they can do.
Yes. Yes. And I'll tell you, since that time, my daughter, they're both creatives. Both of my children are creatives, and they got it honestly because my husband is as well. That's how we met. Doing some
Mm,
art together. But my son is a singer and a dancer, a fantastic dancer. My daughter is an artist. She's a visual artist, and she also wrote her first poem called Black Girl
mm,
Magic. She wrote it a few weeks ago, and she'll be doing it. She's performing it next Sunday. So like we right at 6. So we are, we're trying to instill those things in them now. Like, you have a voice, and we want you to use it in whatever medium that you're able to use it. We want you to use it. We want you to allow yourself to be seen. If you have a message, send that message out to the world, baby.
mm.
That's it. That's
That is
it.
so perfect, because I teach youth, I mentor youth, and one thing that I tell them, one of the many things that I tell them is let's let's not wait until we're older and to find out some things that we want to do. That
Right.
question, what do you want to be when you grow up?
Yeah.
Let's kind of slide that to the side, and let's ask the question, what do you want to create now? That's
Exactly.
that's what I ask my kids, and that's why my 6-year-old is an author now. She wrote a book last last was it July? Last July, and a children's book, and just an example. You know what I mean? It's because it's possible.
Mm.
Like right now, you don't have to wait until you're 30 and trying to figure it out. You know what I mean? So yeah,
Exactly.
I look forward to seeing
Exactly.
what your children create, for sure.
Yes. Me
So
too.
so tell me about
Me
Tokyo.
too. Okay. Yeah. So Tokyo. I submit things. I go online and I apply. I look to see what are you guys asking for? What do you need? So the Tokyo Poetry Journal of Poetry, Tokyo Journal of Poetry also had a call for submission, and I believe this was in the fall. They were looking for something that for people to submit things for the Umoja journal that came out in February, came out a couple of weeks ago. So I submitted 5 poems. They took 4 of them. All right. They took 4 of them. But this was not a typical acceptance into a journal, which those are amazing as well because they're hard to come by. But this was actually a book launch, a live art exhibit, and everything to that effect. So my poems are, of course, in the journal. They also took the words and framed them, and they are hanging on an art venue in Tokyo. Then they asked me for an audio. So the audio is playing at the same art exhibit in Tokyo. You push the button and you hear me read the poem. And then they asked me to come and perform live. I got up at 5 a.m. because of the time difference, and was
Hmm.
actually able to perform at the launch. They had live performances, and then I was able to perform. In the midst of that, they had some of their more popular Japanese poets to take our poems, the few people that had been accepted into the journal. They translated our poems into their language and then performed them. So I'm on this live stream listening to this wonderful poet who had translated one of my poems into her language and then read it, and just to like, I couldn't understand it because I don't speak Japanese, but I knew what she was saying, one, because it was my poem, but two, because of the passion that she read it with. So it was so touching. It was a lot. And then I had people, messaging me that were in Tokyo saying, "Hey, I'm following you now. You are amazing." And this was a completely different culture, people that speak a completely different language, but we were able to come together. It's almost like Pentecost. Everybody speaking languages, but everybody understood everybody. And it was touching, and it was just like a vision for the future of us all being able to come together, which is one of the silver linings I always say of the pandemic. Us being able to come
Yeah.
together and do things virtually that we hadn't even thought to do before.
Mm-hmm.
So it's
Yeah.
dope.
The
It's
the
dope.
the blessing in disguise.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's so. When do you plan to fly to Japan? Because you gotta see it in
um,
person.
I I want to. I want to. I can see. I don't. I mean, I have a passport, but I need to see how my summer goes. My summers I have off, but I also have my responsibilities of my family and things like that. And we're here. I'm not flying everybody to Tokyo, not until I get that good poet money, and then I can fly everybody to Tokyo. I fortunately actually have family that's stationed there, and so they're going to go see it and take up close and personal pictures and things for me, so that at least kind of gets me a little bit closer than just me saying I was on the stream looking. So I
Right.
can kind of live through that. And I also don't believe for a second that it's going to be my last time having something
Oh,
international
not
occur.
at
I mean,
all.
I'm my goal, and I said this after this because I was already published in Australia. Now I'm published, in Asia, obviously published, in our continent, on our continent. Like, I have 4 continents left. I can do it.
It's
I can reach
nothing.
those other ones as well. I can reach the other ones as well. So that's a goal. That's a goal.
That's
So yeah,
the international poet,
yeah, I love it.
Cassandra is free.
I love it.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So let's take a step back real quick. Where did poetry come in for you?
I probably started writing, like really writing, around the 5th grade. I had always done, and my mother, both of my parents, they still to this day make me write "Roses are red" in their card as a joke. So I started out probably writing "Roses are red, violets are blue," like a lot of people. But my 5th grade teacher, I went to Norview Elementary. My 5th grade teacher's name was Miss Washington, and she was the hardest, and this is only 5th grade, but to my memory she was one of the hardest on me as a writer. And it was because she saw something in me that I didn't realize I had at that time. She would send papers back, because we had papers and like little essays and things we had to write in 5th grade. She would send it back if I didn't have a comma, and she wouldn't tell me what was wrong. She'd just say, "Look at it. I'm not grading it till you fix it." And I'd go back and I'd find it would take a little bit of cussing and tears, but I'd find the comma. But it made me want to write better, and it made me understand, even at 10, I was 10 in the 5th grade, that she saw that I had the potential. And I just started writing more. And I would share, even when I went to middle school, I would come and see her and I would share things with her. "I wrote this, it's only 5 sentences. Can you read it?" And she'd be like, "That's my girl." And she was one of those teachers, and I try to be, one of those teachers. But she inspired me. And my mother's a writer as well. My mother's a writer as well. She kept that to herself for quite a while. And I never understood why until I realized that sometimes poetry is just for you. So then I
Mm,
got it. So she's the type of writer that she writes and it's for her, unless she just wants to share it, which is rare, but that's okay. But I'm one of those, "I wrote this poem. I need somebody to
yeah.
hear it.
Right.
Listen."
Right.
But
Right.
it really stemmed back to me having, my mother, who would still like to read the stuff I read, my father, who would, and I say, "I love this poem." It's 3 sentences, but I love it. And then my teacher, who said, "You can do this," and from an early age. So I just always wrote. Yeah.
Wow. Wow. Okay. All right. So from fifth grade and you writing and you sharing it with family and friends, How did that escalate?
That escalated, and that goes almost back to where did I get my name from? Because it was honestly the same person, which is my friend Crystal. We're still friends to this day. She had an event. It was like a cancer benefit, and she said, "Read one of your poems. We're going to have poetry. We're trying to be classy." I was like, "My poetry is classy? I don't know." But she said, "Read one of your poems. I want you to come." So I said, "Okay, okay, I'll come out." But going to that event changed my life. It changed the trajectory of everything that I was going to do as an artist, because I met someone who would become my poetry mentor. You're from the area, so you may be familiar with Godchild the Omen. He
Hmm.
is one of the biggest names in this area, and he was performing at this event, and he took me under his wing almost immediately. And he was hosting an open mic at the time called Fuzzy Wednesdays. It was on Granby Street at a restaurant called Time Lounge that became a clothing store. But anyway, it was the biggest open mic, and he said, "I need you to come out. Just come out and spit. Trust me, they're gonna love you. They're gonna love you." So I started to go out to the open mics. This was maybe 2000 and I don't know, 2010 or something. So I would come out to the open mics, and the crowd really accepted me, and they would hype me up. So I started to go to other open mics in the area. I started to get hungry for it. I would find, like, who has an open mic? I don't care if there's 3 people in the crowd. I just want to go. So I would start to go, and then somebody offered me a feature, and I was like, "What's that?" Because I didn't know. So
Hmm.
I knew what feature meant, but I was like, "It's just me?" And they were like, "Yes." So I went, and it was a packed house because I had a following from the open mics, not realizing I was building a following. So when people said, "Oh, she's going to do more than 2 poems," the limits at the open mics, it was a packed house, and it felt good. It felt good to have my words received, and it just made me hungry and hungry. So I just started to seek out more places to be and to have my voice heard, even if it wasn't locally, even if I had to go a few hours away. So it built from there. Definitely built from there.
Around what age was that? Was that college? When was that?
Um, well, I was done. This was probably a little bit after I finished, because I finished NSU in 2009.
Gotcha.
So this was maybe around what 2000. Well, maybe right around that time, 2009,
Oh,
2010. So yeah, so I was doing the open mics in school that I knew of, but really starting to get more into it. I had just come out of NSU. And I wish that, I know you said something about younger people. I wish that we had, when I was younger, some of the things that we have now for our teenage and our preteen poets, because, and that's why I
mhm.
encourage them now: write, put your words out there, do what you have to do. Because if we had kind of had that and known that we were allowed to speak and allowed to say the things, I don't know where I would have been, or how much sooner in my life I would have started than where I am now. But
Right,
it's
right.
still.
You got to NSU at 2005.
Nope. Mm-mm. I got there in 2006.
6.
There we
Oh,
go. From
you still there?
Tidewater Community College. I transferred. Yeah, I'm here now. It froze for a second. I said, "Wait a minute,
Yeah.
okay."
So
But
you got
unfortunately, it was like
there
a
at,
cute still shot. I was like, at least I look good.
all right.
I
So when
started
did
in
you get to
yeah.
NSU?
I started in '06 as what they call a non-traditional student, because I was evenings, because I was working during the day.
Mm.
And then I went part-time, taking the classes as I could. And then I finished in '09. I graduated. I'll tell you with my journey as far as my education. I graduated from high school in 1995. And I started immediately at community college, and I dropped out.
Hmm.
I dropped out. And I realized it took me a few years. I did the thing that we do when we fall in love and we just want to be up under that person, and that person is really no
Hmm.
good for us. I did that.
Hmm.
And then I got
Hmm.
over that. And then I got myself back in school so I could get on track and build the life that I wanted to build. So, it's taken me to this point. I'm, in grad school now, which is, wonderful. So I'm really
Gotcha.
definitely living what I want to live now, and I'm getting ready to,
Yeah.
you know, definitely see the fruits of my labor shortly on that. But I stopped, but I use that as a testimony to tell people that just because you stop doesn't mean that you can't get back up and go again.
Mm.
And that was what I had to do. That was what I had to do. Even I don't care how long it takes. Finish the race,
Period.
and
Finish what you
that's
start.
it.
That's
Finish
dope.
the race. Yes, indeed.
So you came in around the same time I was leaving out in
Right. We
'06.
crossed.
So we kind
Right.
of crossed. Got you.
Right.
Got you. Okay. Okay. So that's awesome. That's good stuff. I think that's going to encourage somebody. Definitely somebody's going to hear or watch this here and get encouraged because we're never the only person. You know,
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
yeah, yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah.
So thank you for sharing that.
Yes.
And so what I've been seeing recently, you're also an educator in the poetry realm of things as well.
Yeah.
With
Yeah.
Okay, tell me about that.
Certainly. I said a few minutes ago that the pandemic, the silver lining in that was that it allowed us to do a lot of things online. And one
Hmm.
thing that it did was allow me access to Right About Now, which is based in Houston, Texas. I had heard about Right About Now. I always said, I want to go to Houston and I want to get on that stage, but I've never had time to go to Houston. So when the pandemic hit and everything went virtual, Amir Safi, who's the host, put the open mic online. I said, okay, boom, this is my
Hmm.
chance. So I went, and according to him, blew the crowd away my first night. And I just kept coming. It was kind of like, it almost took me back to when I first started doing open mics, and the crowd loved me because this was a new crowd. This was like their national and international, their viewers. And I started just showing up every week and going on, and it allowed me to kind of build a relationship with them where they got to see the type of artist I am, the type of performer I am, as well as the type of writer I am. So a few months ago, they decided to open what is called Right About Now Academy, where they have
Hmm.
some of the best, their words, some of the best writers to come and facilitate workshops. And they said,
Hmm.
is anyone interested? Let us know, and they'll pick from there. So I said, I definitely want to do it. So they actually said, well, you can do three. Said, okay, what topics? You pick the topics. This is your workshop. You do a workshops on things that you want to
Hmm.
write about or that you want to talk about. So my first one is actually going to be next Monday. I have three consecutive ones: one in February, one in March, and one in April. That I'm very excited, definitely very excited to be bringing. One is on 60-second poems, 1 minute poems, because a lot of people
Hmm.
don't know how to write 1 minute poems, or at least not quality 1 minute poems. So I'm going to be able to
Right.
bring the structure to that, and things like that. I'm doing one on haiku, which I love, different styles that are similar to haiku as well, and one on ekphrastic poetry, which is basically where you take art, you take a painting or a sculpture and you write to it based on the feelings that you get from looking at this piece of art. So
What's the name
yeah,
of that again?
they're going to be ekphrastic, ekphrastic,
Ekphrastic.
yes, it's wonderful. It's when I got hooked
That's
on that a couple of years ago from a poetry prompt, and they put a photo in, and all I saw was the movie The Color Purple. So I wrote from the viewpoint of Celie, and it was such a dope concept, and I just started doing that. I started looking at art like I want to write to it, and so I've kind of not perfected it, but I kind of have a good handle on how to write those types of poems. So I want other people to be introduced to that as well. So I'm
did you
excited about
know
all three
that
workshops.
did you know that that had a name to it at first?
Not until the poetry prompt, because I Googled it.
Right.
Because if I don't know,
Right.
I Google everything. But when I saw the
Right.
word, I was like, well, what is that? So I Googled it. I was like, oh, okay, let's try it. And I tried it and I loved it. And it's I've done a short workshop on it before with students outside of Norfolk. I used to work for MWR, for the Department of the Navy. I was the performing arts teacher, and I introduced so many things to them: dance and song and songwriting and poetry and bookmaking, just all kinds of things. But we did an exercise in that, and they loved it as well.
It's time to create an unforgettable experience at your next event with The Poet Life by booking a keynote poet. Poets excite your audience with motivating messages, charismatic delivery, colorful rhythm, powerful prose, and heart-filled stories with a style of spoken word that's tailored specifically to your event. The Poet Life has keynote poets in your city of all ages and backgrounds.
Visit thepoetlife.com to learn more and book your poet today.
So I think
with the
it'll
Navy.
go over well. Yes.
Wow.
Yes. I was civilian.
Got you.
It was
Got you.
probably my favorite job, though, teaching performing arts. Yeah, probably my favorite job ever.
So to the Navy personnel, the military folks.
To their children.
Oh, to
I
their
worked with their
children.
children. Yeah, I worked with their children.
Gotcha.
I worked with their children, and it was amazing.
Got it.
It was definitely amazing.
That's
They were,
that's
yeah, it was a great group of kids.
that's awesome. That's awesome. I'm familiar with that because I for many years was a government contractor, in IT and as a business analyst,
Mm.
and I was always on military installations,
Right,
and
yeah.
so I was familiar with the school on not campus, but
Just on the
what is
basis.
the base on the base.
Mhm.
So that's awesome. That's awesome. How many years did you do that?
I did it for 3. I did it for 3, and like I said, it was my favorite job. And then I say that, and someone says, "Why did you leave?" I left because the hours, the stress that it put on my household was not worth it. As much as I loved it, it had me there at 6 a.m. I'd work a split shift, so I worked in the morning, and then I had to come
Mm,
back in the afternoon. So I'm getting off at 5 p.m., which meant that my children had very long days, and that was too much. So I said I can go back because I had worked for Norfolk Public Schools before that. I said I can go back. I definitely left on great terms. I can go back and I can kind of mimic my children's school schedule to make their day easier and to make their day not where we're away from each other for 13 hours. Because then you want to sleep for 8. I'm only seeing you 2 or 3 hours a day, and that's homework and dinner. Like I was getting no quality time, and it wasn't worth it. I'm getting quality time
right.
with everyone's kids but mine. No, no, not gonna do
Great
that.
decision. Great decision.
Yep. Yeah, it
Yeah.
was absolutely.
Totally sacrifices that you got to make, for your
Yeah,
kids. So I totally
yeah.
understand. Definitely. Got
Always
you.
worth it. Always worth it.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. So what are your plans? What's your trajectory? What do you see yourself like in your ideal vision of your poetry career? Where do you see yourself?
Well, the next, obviously, I'm published. I have 4 books. I have 4 books out, and they're all different things because I want people to see my diversity in writing. I'll continue to put books out. I'll continue to build up my videos because I want to put more videos out as well. I think the biggest thing
Mhm.
I have coming up is my participation in Women of the World Poetry Slam in March, which is taking place in Baltimore. So I'm registered, slated, I'm writing, I'm ready to go compete, and I'm ready to, represent Virginia to the best of my ability to the fullest.
Mm.
And so that's probably the biggest thing that's on my radar right in the immediate future is going there and doing well. Like it's important to me to go represent myself, my city, and my state. So that's the biggest thing
Yeah.
that I have coming up. And then I have, I'm also an actress, so I have things coming up for June, plays that I'm in and things like that. I'm doing something with the city of Newport News in June. We just booked that contract today. So I'm just looking forward to some things. Right about now has a major slam coming up in August that we've been competing for. We've been competing for ranks because they only take a certain number of people. So based on their virtual and their live performance, I think I'm ranked number 9 right now. Keep in mind, I can't go there. So this is based just on my virtual rankings. Other people get to go. So that's actually, I'm number 3 virtually and number 9 out of everybody. So I'll be invited in August to go slam for their worldwide slam competition. It's just a lot. I like to compete. I'm going to make that one a family trip because the kids will still be out of school. And I like to compete. I like to do that, but I also like to, have my books put out. I like to put on things for the city. I love the stage. I love theater. So I'm getting back more into acting as well, because I left that behind for a little bit to focus on the poetry. Now I have the poetry where it's stable, and people, and I don't have to seek out very many people. People are calling me, hey, we need you for this. So I've kind of gotten to that point where I'm not relaxed, but I'm comfortable enough that I know people are seeking me out. So I'm getting back to acting as well, which is super important to me. So I'm just enjoying the arts. I'm just enjoying the
That's
arts.
awesome.
Definitely.
Have your kids seen you perform?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely, definitely, to the more family friendly events. Like if you had brought if your festival had been here, they would have been there. They would have been
Gotcha.
there. But it was 4 hours away from where we are, so
Right.
they didn't travel with me for that. But they definitely come out to the family friendly things. I definitely have some things that are darker topics that I don't expose them to. They know that the world has some things going on with it, but there are certain things that I don't need them to hear on the stage. It's just I'll explain things to them, mom to child, but the way I explain it to them is not how I tell the audience on the stage. So
Hmm.
they don't come to those shows. They don't come to
Gotcha.
those shows, But yeah, they've heard me, and then I even in my church, I perform, I do things in my church all the time that they're able to see, and and hear, and yeah, I bring them in, and make sure that if I'm like, if you want to come up here, and if you have something to say, I can get you up here. I got connections. I can get you
Right.
up here. So, we encourage them that way as well. My husband and I both encourage them that way. Don't be afraid. You have a
Right.
gift. Don't be afraid to shine. So, yeah,
Gotcha.
but they hear me perform.
Awesome. You said your husband was a creative as well. What does he do?
He sings. He sings beautifully. I wish I could sing, but he has a wonderful singing voice. He's acted with me in a few things, and he plays guitar as well. And kind of plays the keyboard. I hope he doesn't watch this. You sound great, babe. But he kind of plays the keyboard. But he's a marvelous singer. We met in 2011, December of 2011, at a party where I was a poet for hire and he was a singer for hire. So they put us together at our table, and we just we just struck up a conversation, and we became friends. And I had an event coming up a couple of weeks after that. That once I heard him sing, and that really, to this day, he swears I was trying to hit on him, but I really just wanted him to perform at the event. So I got his phone number for that. He called my phone number, was singing to me and stuff. I was like, what's happening? Like, that's not what I asked you for, you know? But we didn't date. We actually really developed an association and a friendship. I think we dated like 6 months after we met. That was our first date. And then we were just kind of together after that. We got along, even though he's younger than me, which a lot of people don't know. But yeah, it worked out. It worked out.
Gotcha.
So.
Gotcha. And you all performed, did you say you performed together sometimes too?
Yeah, I've brought him in on poems. We definitely have done several plays and productions together, because he acts a little bit. He's got some acting chops as well. So we've been able to do those things together as well. So that's different. It's definitely different because, for example, we did a play about a year and a half ago, where he was like the sexy doctor. So you know how women are in the audience in these plays, and the sexy guy walks out and it's and I'm just
Right.
sitting here like, so it's a little. That was the first time for me. I was, because he didn't normally play those types of roles. I was like, they better get
Right.
off my man. But
Right.
he's great. He's great, and it's very, it's kind of amazing to look up and be, and be on stage with your other half. It's definitely a unique experience. So I'm glad I'm
Hmm.
getting to do that, and our kids see us. So
Did you break character when that happened?
no, I'm a professional. I'm a professional, but inside,
Right.
I was screaming. I was screaming, put your shirt on. Your
Right.
mama didn't raise you like that. I was just doing
Right.
all kinds of stuff inside. But, outside, I was just, I
Right.
stayed the character. But
That's
I was giving them evil looks after the play was over. I saw you.
right.
But no, no, not
Right.
for real. It was cool. It was all good. It comes with the
So
territory.
so
It comes with the territory.
so in the future, do you see yourself being a full-time poet or a full-time creative?
Yes. Yes. My ultimate goal, it's related. I'll say it like that. I have a passion for working with children. That's always been there. That's always been there. Like I said, my favorite job that I've ever had, my favorite career, because it was a career, was teaching performing arts. My ultimate goal is to be able to open up a center that teaches art and that teaches different types of art to children, and it be funded so that it's free. That's the ultimate goal. So I want to complete the grad degree that I'm working on. And then the second one that I'm kind of in the middle of, I'm getting ready. I think I told you this. I'm getting ready to start one next week that's actually being paid for by my job. And then I'll go back to the one that I was in the middle of before I got the offer to have this one paid for. So once I complete both of them, which will be around 2024, I want to start looking into how to get the city to fund a building for me so that I can bring these children in off of our streets because they don't have very many other options and have positive things going on. I know everybody in the art community in this area, and it's a decent sized area that I can get people that will come in and that will teach these children the things that they know. They will teach them how to play an instrument. They will teach them what it means to paint and put your emotion into that paint, what it is to write a song, sing a song, produce a song. I want them to learn these things, and because it's important, and they don't have it. They don't have it in the schools, not like they used to. They don't have it because our teaching, our staff is diminishing so much because of the pandemic and rules and other things. They're now taking the resource teachers and putting them in the regular classroom. So our kids aren't getting their resource classes. They're not learning those things that are also important. So that's my ultimate goal. And that will allow me to still be creative, work for myself, but also benefit our community and our children. And
Mm.
that's the ultimate goal for me, to bring them together, to bring the education and the creativity and the art together. That's the goal.
Poet Life University welcomes you to the world of creation, thoughts, expertise, and professionalism by offering technical knowledge, practical support, creative encouragement, and whatever it takes for you to create the poetry career that you've always desired, but never knew was possible. And the best part is we have professional poets from around the world as professors to teach you everything they've learned throughout their poetry careers. We are currently offering several 8-week live courses that will help you gain a deep understanding of poetry, become confident in your work as a poet and writer, learn how to start your own business with the help of an expert, enjoy the freedom that comes from being able to pursue what you love on your terms. Are you ready to take your poetry to the next level? Learn with others by doing for the future from the comfort of your home. Get in touch with us at www.poetlifeuniversity.com and enroll today.
That's in game.
Beautiful. That's what I love to hear. That's what I love to hear, uh, because it's possible. And I know that you can and will do it. So more power to you. And in any way where you need assistance, let me know. I'm still connected to
Okay.
Norfolk heavily, you know. So even if Norfolk State was, a part of it somehow, like Howard is, Howard has
Mm-hmm.
like their own elementary school or something like that,
Yeah.
you know.
It's something,
Um,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. So that's good. That's good. So if you I'm just really excited because one, I can't wait to go back to Norfolk and check out those poems on the
Yes.
street.
Yes.
When I
I
go
will
back
send
for
I will
homecoming,
send you
please, please send me the
I'll send you the
address.
locations.
Sis. Yes, definitely.
Your
And
addresses. Yeah.
Do you right? Do you go back to homecoming?
I have. I have. It just depends. Like my life, as you can imagine,
I see.
is busy, is hectic. Not even in a bad way. It's just I have a lot going on. I apply myself to a lot of things, but then I also make sure that I have time for my family. Like that's always my main goal. Like I want to do these things. How is it going to affect them? Okay, I can do that. I just can't do that, but then I can do
Hmm.
this. So my life is always is there's a balance of even though I want to go, 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 sometimes I gotta stay. So I get
Hmm.
out when I can. I get out when I can, definitely.
That's awesome.
Even my high
That's
school, I
awesome.
try to go when my high school does stuff. Just we try to get out.
Yeah, got you. Now, but it's it was announced in August, right? But it wasn't applied till January of this year.
Oh, the
The the
words, yeah,
poems. Yeah.
they put them down. They put them down in January. They put them down in
So this would
January.
be the first homecoming after that.
Ooh, you're right.
You might want to make that a priority.
Yeah, that's a good point. Well, I have time to plan it, right? I got a while.
Yeah.
I
Reach
have a
out to the
while.
Spartan Echo, like the whole, yeah, and like make a
Yeah.
whole situation.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah, I'm excited about it. I'm waiting. I'm scheduling with my brother, also a graduate of NSU, the graphic design program. He's a professional photographer, so I need to get we're trying to coordinate our schedules. It's tough because he's getting married. He's planning a wedding, but to actually do a real photo shoot. Like we went and took pictures with our phone, like hey, but I want my brother to come out with his tripod and his
Yes.
Nikon and like really take
Yes.
amazing photos before the stencil starts to fade
Fade.
because it
Yeah.
will
Yeah.
you know
Yeah.
so that's a goal as well. But I'll
Yeah.
definitely be reaching out, and I hadn't thought about it, reaching out to Spartan Echo, but that's actually a great idea. So that'll be on
Hmm.
my agenda for this week, because I know me, I'll do it
Yeah.
this week and get it
Good.
taken care of.
Good.
So
That's
yeah.
awesome, Cassandra. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for carving out
Yes.
some time out of your busy
Oh,
schedule.
absolutely.
Yeah, for sure. And I enjoyed this conversation, and I'm sure our
Me too.
viewers and listeners have enjoyed this conversation as well, and are in awe and in a moment of brainstorming right now. Like, oh shoot, how can I do this? How can I do that? How can I submit?
Hmm.
To somewhere in Japan, somewhere, and
Definitely.
Yeah, yeah. Did you
Definitely
Google that?
do
Wait,
it.
I didn't ask you. Did you Google that?
I do. I always look and search for places that are calling for submissions. I look for the free ones first because I feel like I should not have to pay you to publish me. That's weird, uh,
Mm,
for me. But I look for the free ones first. If it's one that charges, but I know that it's the type of platform that's going to reach the audience, like Button, for example, then yeah, absolutely, I'll pay. So even with Button, they do their video submissions every August. They do their July to August. They open it up, and if you have a video, you submit it. They're gonna tell you yes. They're gonna tell you no. They told me no 4 years straight. And then the one that I
mm,
submitted in 2020, they put on their wait list. So that means they accepted it, and they're going to drop it whenever they drop it. So I'm
mm,
excited. I'm excited for that type of platform. But you have to look, because you're not going to know. Nobody's going to walk up to you in Walmart and say, hey, you submit to this journal. You just look like a poet. That's never going to happen. So you have to look, and you have to find those opportunities. And if you don't, that's on you. Like, find the opportunities that are out there, because they're out there. You'll get,
mm.
rejection emails, and that's okay, because the next one might not be a rejection. And I found that
Right.
out, and it was a great feeling. So it makes you want to keep applying and seeking and searching. And how else do you get your name out there if you don't put your name out there? It's really common
Mm.
sense. It's really common sense.
Don't quit.
Yeah. So Google. Google and don't quit.
Right.
Google and don't quit. You get on Beyonce's internet and you find some poetry submissions and you submit your stuff, and that's what you do.
That's funny, man. If you could leave something with the people, to inspire them to do more, whether it's with their poetry or just in general to do more, what would that be?
I'll leave you with a quote by the great Whitney Houston. I believe the children are the future. Teach them well and let them lead the way. Seriously, because our kids are watching us, and because the only way that they learn is from watching what we do. It's really, we can tell them to do stuff, but if we're not
Mhm.
also doing it, they're not going to do it either. So they're not, they're going to be real quick to say, but I see you doing this.
Ooh,
And we can say, you do as I say, not as I do, but that's trash. You don't tell them that. Don't say that to them, because
trash.
it's trash. You do what you're telling them to do, so that they see the actual example and not the
Mm.
suggestion. Because if you're not doing it, that's all it is a suggestion. Be the example. So that's what I'll leave them with. Be the example.
I call it I call it show and tell,
Yeah,
right?
I'm with that.
It's it's
Yep.
it's not tell and show. It is show and tell. Show them through your actions and then explain,
Yep. Yep.
and that's exactly
Yep.
what you're doing with your kids and other children as well, because I think past generations, parents have like sacrificed their dreams, after they had kids,
Mm.
and I appreciate it. We appreciate it, you know, um, but I think we would have got a whole lot more if, again, like you said, if we saw you doing what you're telling us, that we can be anything, we can do anything, and
Right.
you know what I'm saying? Because
Yep.
we're like torn, like, okay, I hear you saying it, but
Right. Right.
yeah.
We at The Poet Life are excited to invite you to be a part of something that we've all been longing for. For far too long, each and every one of us have been searching for a way to get connected with like-minded people, specifically poets who have the desire to make poetry their career. We've all heard more than once from more than one person that there is no money in poetry. This couldn't be further from the truth. Your poetry is invaluable. Allow us to show you how successful you can be with your poetry. Learn how you can go from being an individual poet to launching a business that offers poetry as a service. Join us as we build the poetry industry together. The Poetry Business Network, that is made of poets from all over the world who are looking to start their career in the poetry industry, or simply do more with their poetry. We will meet twice a week on a Zoom call every Tuesday and Thursday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You will have the opportunity to meet and network with poets from all walks of life. You will also have the privilege of meeting and learning from the best professional poets in the world. Many of them have been guests on the Poet Life podcast. We have also incorporated a book club where we read personal development books to help us change our mindset. In order for us to realize our greatness as professional poets, we must renew our minds. So, for just $1, you can check out the Poetry Business Network to see if you like it. We are confident that you will. If you choose to become a member after the first week, membership will be $79 a month. But if for whatever reason you don't, you can cancel at any time. There is no obligation. So, make the investment of just $1 and change the way you see and pursue poetry. We hope you become a part of the Poetry Business Network. Together, we can build the poetry industry.
Yeah.
But you're in the bed every day.
So, it is a beautiful day. and I appreciate everyone watching this podcast. I love it. I love it. I love the perspective. I love your personality.
Thank you.
And I knew we would have an awesome conversation because we had a cool short conversation at the fest.
Right.
Yeah, and that was our first,
Yeah.
wasn't our first time
That was
meeting
our
in
first.
person?
Yeah, that was our first time. It was funny the way that happened. And we're going to wrap up. I was
Mm.
there because there was a slam that I was doing the night before with
Right.
Kaniki, who was on
Right.
your list of
Mhm.
poets for the Poetry Fest. So I was like, I could come perform. I was like, I'll be here. So I would love to just come out. And you said yes. And I said, okay, I'll stay another night. It's fine.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it was a good decision because I enjoyed myself and I enjoyed being
Yeah.
around really wonderful artists. And it was a good time. And there were positive messages being thrown out the whole time.
Just
And there were kids there that
everywhere.
were in a positive place when they could have been somewhere else. And they were just,
Mm.
it was a good time. It was a very good time. And I appreciated it. It was for the culture
I
and for the
appreciate
community. It was
you
beautiful.
for
Yeah.
sure. How do people find you outside of that Instagram page there?
Okay. Well, obviously, you see the Instagram, Cassandra
Mhm.
_is free. You can find me on Facebook, Cassandra Jenkins. We are not cousins, but we might as well be Jenkins,
We're
But
we
Cassandra
might as well say
Jenkins
we're cousins. We both have the
we
same
are.
last name,
It happened.
and
It happened.
yeah.
But find me
Cool.
up there. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. You're good.
Oh, that was it. I was just saying you find me Cassandra Jenkins. I'm pretty active
Gotcha.
on both, probably more on Facebook still. But I'm trying to work to get my Instagram back up. I tried TikTok.
Yeah.
I realized I don't know if I'm too old for TikTok or what, but I'm
No,
like, I don't
listen,
get
the
it.
old people are winning TikTok.
No, they are. Like my boy Anthony, who I know you're familiar with, Anthony Highland. He was here for a very long time in Virginia, so we're very well acquainted. He went to
Right.
TikTok and blew up, but he's also like 20 years younger than me or something. But I'm trying to figure out TikTok,
Yeah.
and I feel like I need to call him. And actually, I need to come to his because he's teaching one of your classes. He's
Yeah.
teaching with you guys for social media presence. I need to take the
Yeah.
course and see what I can do because
He's killing that
yeah,
class.
he's
I
killing it.
chime
I'm so
in.
proud of him. That's
Yeah.
my guy. That's my guy
Yeah.
right
Yeah.
there. But
That's like,
but follow me on whatever, friend me, follow me. Anybody that follows me, I do my best to follow back unless you just seem like kind of off, and then I'm like, sometimes I post my kids, but gotta have that mama eye out. But I
for sure.
typically follow people back as long as you have
Awesome.
positivity going on in your life. I follow that. Yeah.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Well, y'all heard it. Awesome conversation with cousin Cassandra Jenkins. I'm Christoph
Cousin
Jenkins,
Chaos.
coincidentally. And listen, thank you all for listening, watching, hanging with us on this evening. And if you need more information about the Poet Life, go to thepoetlife.com. If you need some gear, go to poetlifegear.com. But also, if you want to learn how to become a poet, how to do more with your poetry, how to create a career with your poetry, go to poetlifeuniversity.com and enroll. We have some awesome courses there, but we also have some awesome things going on. We also have a community called the Poetry Business Network, where we meet on a weekly basis and help each other build our brands and build the poetry industry. And that is poetrybusinessnetwork.com. So as you can tell, we are doing our best to do our due diligence in leaving a mark, if you will. And thank you all for tonight, Cassandra. I appreciate you for sure. We'll reconnect in some way as it relates to a project or of some sort. But I appreciate you coming through for sure.
Absolutely. And the audience can also hit my website. I did fail to mention that, CassandraIsFree.com. It has all upcoming events, book links, and everything to that effect. So you can hit that up anytime as well.
Awesome. Cassandra is free, but listen, she's not free. Pay her what she's worth. Okay? All right. Y'all have a good night. It's the Poet Life Podcast.
Find a way, find a way.